Welcome back to the F1 2019 career mode, and we are here for the Belgium Grand Prix, moving on into the second half of the season. We've got some momentum behind us after some decent results, especially that sniping the final point on the last lap of the Grand Prix out in Hungary. Alex Albon and me probably not on the best of terms at the moment, but is what it is in team competition. Looking at it into this weekend, Red Bull bring an upgrade to move them closer to the Mercedes team, leaving Ferrari behind as a solid third place. Racing Point have squeaked just ahead of us in the last round, and they maintain that going into this weekend. McLaren and Haas bring solid upgrades, moving them closer to us. Looks like Alpha bring an upgrade as well. Renault really falling down the field. They are like joint at the back, and Williams have been just on this upward surge of momentum, moving up towards the midfield battle.
It's qualifying time at Spa, one of the mightiest tracks on the Formula One calendar. Long straights, up and downhill, Eau Rouge as well. This track isn't for the faint-hearted.
So we have the true driver's circuit here at Spa-Francorchamps. It is an absolute unique blend of corners, and we are coming off our first flying lap in the qualifying session. It is a 1:45.7. It puts us P6 provisionally, or P7 by the time Hamilton crosses the line. And we are behind Alex Albon at the moment. Of course, your main objective in Formula One is to try and beat your teammate on equal footing. So, at the end of our first run, we were P16, 3 minutes left of the session, and we are underway to try and improve and launch ourselves up towards hopefully a top 10 starting position. That would preferably be ideal. A lot more cautious into La Source that time around to try and improve the exit as we charge down the hill up towards Eau Rouge, and Radion use as much curb on the inside as possible. Don't even dare think about lifting as you go over the hill. We're slightly up on our delta. Overtake mode on ERS. DRS wide open and charging now down towards the Kemmel Straight before the braking zone of Lake Com. You can brake much later than you normally would as it is uphill. Hug the curb on the inside. Don't take too much on the left or the car will lose control. I went too far out wide. Couldn't keep the car planted before we now head down towards Ravage, the long right-hander where you kind of just need to wait to get on the throttle. You always have to do it later than you think you do, and then through the no-named left-hander. We've really struggled to get the nose in. That's understeered wide. Cost me a lot of time. We're going to try and make it up now in the fast left-hander of Pouin. We've turned in a little bit too early. The front has slid. We've tried to catch the car, but we've ever so slightly punted the barrier. And frustratingly, that's our last attempt. So we're out of qualifying. P16 is the best place we will start in the race at Belgium, and don't know how I feel about that. Frustrated with myself. Time for a recovery drive.
In the 48 races held at Spa between 1950 and 2015, the race winner has only started from pole position on 16 occasions. Qualifying yesterday may have set the order for today, but expect the unexpected here at the Belgian Grand Prix. As the saying goes, of course, anything can happen. And you know what? It usually does. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track is a great one for fans of pure speed. The average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles an hour. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once again by Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the captain. No grid penalties, no mitigating circumstances, just a poor qualifying performance and a very disappointing start position for them today.
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Bottas, Pierre Gasly and Perez, Weber, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg and Lance Stroll. Verstappen, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Raikkonen, Devon Butler and Norris, Magnussen, Albon, the captain and Roman Grosjean. Russell and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
P17 on the grid for the Belgian Grand Prix. not the best, and obviously we can do something with the strategy. It's trying to suggest that I start on a worn set of soft tyres. That's definitely not what I'm going to do. Instead, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to start on a set of mediums and go to a set of softs, and hopefully with the fuel load down, we can try and catch some people out later on in the race. But enough said about the strategy. Let's build as we have 5 red lights for the Belgian Grand Prix. Lights are out and away we go. Albon down here as well, so not really too outclassed. Maybe the Toro Rosso just not working around here as Russell sends it down the inside. Absolutely ridiculous from George Russell. Made up about 8 places there. We on traction have dropped down to 18th, so nothing gained into La Source, but it's all about the slipstream up Eau Rouge and down the Camel Straight. So let's see what we can do. Small confidence lift as the car is fat with fuel, and of course we are unsettled due to the dirt. Yeah, look at all the slipstreams taking place down towards Camel. We've got the engine all turned up, but we can't close up behind anyone. Albon goes to the outside. We duck to the inside of Kevin Magnussen's trying to avoid hitting him, and Albon looks like he's trying to pull off a double overtake. Can he go around Lando Norris? Answer is no. We're going to duck into the slipstream of the McLaren up towards Rivage. Albon still trying to fight his way round. Let's see what we can do versus our teammate. Just unfortunately, it's going to be very single file through here. Albon trying to force the issue, though. It is impressive side-by-side racing between the 2 young guys, and we're just going to have to try and defend from Magnussen, who's going to maybe look and try and do a ballsy move into Pouon. Thinks better of it. But now, moving through the rest of the lap, we just retain P17. We haven't had the best run out of the second part of Stavolo, excuse me, and that has meant Magnussen is now charging up towards the right-hand side of us. We're going to defend to the inside through Blanchimont, push him off into the runoff area, and he's not going to like that. He's actually lost out to his teammate, Romain Grosjean there, as we're coming through again to the end of the first lap. Hamilton leads the way. The McLarens were scrapping. There's, of course, George Russell up there as well, like I mentioned, and we're still trying on lap 2 along the Camel Straight to pull ourselves up behind our teammate Alex Albon, but Russell now falling back. Butler has passed him. Now Norris trying to pass him through the no-name right-hander. It slowed Albon up and left him susceptible to maybe a move into Rivage. It's late, it's bold, and it's more wheel banging between the Toro Rosso teammates. We had it in Hungary. We have it again in Belgium, and he's actually lost out to Romain Grosjean behind. So hold my hands up. That wasn't for a point. Probably could have laid off him a little bit there, but I'll still take the position because we're on a harder compound of tyre and we're running longer in this Grand Prix. Track position for us is far more important because we need to be clean and consistent with our laps. As we faded on to lap 3, you probably saw George Russell moving slowly. I believe he's unfortunately had to retire from the session. He's dropped back due to an engine failure. Yes, unfortunately, Russell is out the race. Albon has now regained P16 from Romain Grosjean, but he is 2.5 seconds behind me now, and I'm just trying to see if we can cling on to the back of Norris's McLaren, because soft tyres are going to be going off fairly soon, and I just want to see if I can stick to the pack ahead and on my overcut strategy of running the medium, try and gain time and gain positions during the pit stop phases. But we've lost a couple seconds. It's not awful though. Albon really hasn't closed in on me. We are running out of ERS deployment though, so something we're going to need to consider. But there's a huge scrap going on between Raikkonen and Devon Butler. I mean, that's 14th through to about 8th position just up ahead of me. Lap time still looking solid, if not, they're nothing spectacular. But mid to high 1 minute 50s. Clearly the guys in front aren't going that much faster than me. As we move on to lap 5, they're still scrapping away and it's costing them time. So we've now moved up behind Lando Norris in the braking zone. And Raikkonen's passed Butler and Hülkenberg on that lap. So Raikkonen remaking some moves. And this is why the midfield is so juicy. It's different depending on what track we're at. Depending on car performance, we've sent one down the inside of Lando Norris. Very slow into turn 1, La Source, not really paying attention. Looking at his teammate in front of him, but now due to the traction out of La Source and maybe a better engine in a straight line, he tries to have a go into Eau Rouge. Very ballsy of him, but doesn't manage to pay the move off. And we've got DRS actually, thanks to where the detection zone is. So Norris is going to lose out to us on the straight. Can we try and pull ourselves closer, especially through the middle sector, to these guys who tyres should, parentheses, should be falling off the cliff very soon as Butler and Hülkenberg battle. We're going to move to the inside of Hülkenberg, try and get him into Rivage. Much less wheel banging that time around than compared to with my teammate earlier on in the race. But that's us up now, up to P13. P10 just down the road. Of course, we've got P12, P11 in front of me. But these tyres are starting to come alive, starting to come good. They've still got a good amount of life left in them. And if we keep driving well, we should hopefully maybe break into the 149s as the fuel wears off. That's the intended plan anyway. End of lap 7. Cars are coming into the pits. The first one is Daniel Ricciardo in the Renault, running very well considering, you know, where the Renault is on paper, as it were. But we're going to see more cars coming in at the end of lap 8, which is what you're seeing now. Weber is in. Looks like one of the Red Bulls as well, of maybe Pierre Gasly. No, it's Verstappen, sorry. And you can see Butler's started to pull away from me. So my tyres also starting to take a bit of a dip as well. So Albon has just passed Norris up for P10. So Albon should be coming into the pits probably the end of this lap, I would imagine. We're running P9. Norris is still scrapping with him, and Butler goes in now. So Norris having to go around again, probably going to be undercut by Albon at this point, who is in the pit lane. We have got the top guys coming out of the pits. Valtteri Bottas is one. Of course, the inside line of the pit exit is going to feed him out just ahead of me. We're going to get some lovely slipstream off the Mercedes, so that will help us out on our run down towards Les Combes. If, of course, I got Eau Rouge right. But, oh, and a bit of DRS. Can we maybe attack Bottas? I think we're a little bit too far back. As much as I'd love to think I'm racing a Mercedes, we're very much not racing him. But we are closing on him. And it does mean that we do get a good time in the first sector. But regardless, this is where we need to get our foot down. This is where we're doing the overcut strategy and hopefully not going to be in too much traffic. And this should really put us in good stead after we come out in around about 4 laps' time on what position we're going to be in. So you can see by the end of lap 10, we haven't lost too much to Bottas. So kept in his slipstream during the fast parts of the track, and it's going to mean it's going to be a 49.6. You can see where we really gained the time. Would have definitely been through the first and final sectors, but through the middle sector, getting some dirty air. Bottas going to pull away from me now, and it's actually got Pierre Gasly, who is of course in the Red Bull team, up behind me. As we're on lap 11 now, so halfway through the Grand Prix. It's been a solid first stint, nothing special. And you can see Gasly, his Honda engine in that Red Bull, definitely pulling a bit better than mine. And Gasly, once again, I like to, whenever I'm on track with Gasly, I like to try and prove my worth because, well, you know, if I'm eyeing for a Red Bull seat, I don't think I'm going to be taking Verstappen's one because he's outperforming Gasly. But Gasly did well to defend into the bus stop there, put his car right in the middle of the road, made it so I couldn't dart either way. And defended well, like he did in Germany, if you can remember back to that. Vettel setting the pace just behind me now, 47.9. We're over 2 seconds off his pace, and you can tell that the tyres are definitely starting to drop off. We'll be coming in sooner rather than later. Start of lap 13. Sergio Perez is behind me. Now, I don't know if he's made a pit stop already, but he is our rival for 7th place in the championship, as you probably hear every single episode. And look at the Mercedes engine power of Sergio Perez. He manages to get past me before we even get to Eau Rouge, and the dirty air unsettled my car so much I've basically gymkhana'd my way up the corner, and it's meant in a straight line. I'm going to lose out here to Sebastian Vettel, and Max Verstappen is also coming through. He's coming through on both of us. Max Verstappen, huge dive bomb versus the Ferrari of Vettel, and he's only gone and bloody made the move work, and I've tapped the back of the Ferrari. Let's hope I don't have any damage, because I don't need to really ruin my race any more than I'm kind of... No, not even ruining it myself. I'm just getting passed by the faster cars. But from turn 1, we were 5th. We're now down in 8th. I can forgive maybe Verstappen and Vettel, but, man, Perez getting past me, I don't think he's got another pit stop to make. Speaking of pit stops, we're coming in for our one at the end of lap 14. This is our one and only stop, like everyone else, but doing the opposite, going from the medium to the soft compound tyre. There goes Weber. Ricciardo is coming again, so he's on a 2-stop. That explains his early pit stop. That's unfortunate for Danny Rick, because he was running very strong, but nonetheless, here we go. Should see the red stripe tyre. Indeed we do. Out of the box we go. Very slick stop by the Toro Rosso boys. 2.2. Where are we going to feed out of the pits? Is it ahead of Albon and Norris? Our survey says, yes it is. And we were racing there, guys, just before the pit stop phases. So, we can look at it. Nothing really gained, which is unfortunate, but nothing really lost either. You could have been concerned that they would have maybe undercut me, but we did enough. Although Albon is in my slipstream, I'm probably going to have DRS up towards Les Combes. You can see him gaining in the mirrors. We're going to move to the right-hand side, defend against my teammate, and he's not going to get through that easily. So we've got a few seconds to the guys up the road. There is Lance Stroll, there is Devon Butler, and there is Lucas Weber. Now, they're the guys we have to catch. Fastest middle sector of the race on lap 17. On my first full flying lap, it's a 49 flat. And you can see Jeff is having a go at me over the tyres, basically going, you need to make these tyres last to the end. I know that, Jeff. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I pushed, we didn't really get any closer. So much so that my fuel started wearing out and I dropped into the 49s, or high 49s. And we didn't really close down to Butler or Stroll in any capacity. So, yeah, unfortunately, nothing really happened. Bottas crosses the line, 47.5 for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix and winner of the Belgian Grand Prix. And unfortunately, I pushed so hard and wore my tyres out. They've actually kind of hit the cliff in a capacity. We're on a very slow lap, and Albon's only half second behind me. And all the way up to the bus stop chicane is basically Slipstream City, and Albon looks like he's going to try and pay me back for Hungary here. He's absolutely just steamed past me up into 11th place. It's not for points, it's more for pride, this one, but he's absolutely done me just before the final chicane. Norris is going to have a look. I'm purposely going to brake late and wait for the track to turn to the inside, hopefully out-traction him, but Albon beats me, but it's only 12th place. No points. Bad luck.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
There we have it, Valtteri Bottas, as mentioned earlier, winning the Belgian Grand Prix ahead of Charles Leclerc for Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton brought it home third for Mercedes, and Vettel, who started on the front row of the grid, ends up 18 seconds behind. And that's not going to fare well for him, because he's in the third fastest car and was championship leader going into this race. Let's see what he's like after it. In fact, he only just beat Sergio Perez to the line, who is in the racing point, and that's the guy we need to be aiming to be beating. Lucas Weber, Lance Stroll and Devon Butler round out the points. And as you saw it there, Alexander Albon beat me to the line. A good charge from us Toro Rosso boys from 16th to 17th to 11th to 12th respectively. But still couldn't break into the points, which is frustrating, but you can't win them all. And we can't be on that surge of momentum like we have been recently. As for the driver standings, like I said, Bottas takes the lead ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Both of those guys over 200 points. 206 Bottas, 203 for Vettel. Lewis Hamilton not too far behind on 198 points, just 8 points separate top three drivers. Then we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Gasly rounding out the top six, and then it's that fight for 7th. Like I said, Sergio Perez currently on 64 points, myself 47. So we've got some work to do over the second half of this season. We just need to get our head down and focus. Looking at the constructor side, Mercedes now pulling away 404 points to Ferrari's 372. Looks like Racing Point are going to be breaching that 100 barrier anytime soon. We're solid in 5th. I'm happy with 5th. I don't think we're going to chase down Racing Point until Albon gets more points. But I'm sure Claire's going to want to know what we thought of today's action.
Amazing performance out there. I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. You were cutting your way through the field during the race.
I think the strategy worked out for us more on this one, but tyres just didn't hold out at the end.
Devon did much better in today's race than he did in qualifying. Were you expecting that?
It can depend with that car. Similar to ours, it has different strengths and different weaknesses, but he's a good driver.
Things are really heating up between you and your rival, aren't they?
Well, I mean, what with me taking a position on the last lap in Hungary, him doing it today, it's all in good fun.
That was a close finish. How are things between the two of you?
You literally just asked this question. It's great. Love it. Fantastic.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. So, 1,578 resource points in the bank coming out of the Belgian Grand Prix. And the car is... It's hard. You know, we're trying to really beat Racing Point to... Or I'm trying to beat Perez, which in turn is like trying to beat Racing Point to the flag. Or at the end of the season, whatever you want to call it. Looks like the place they've made a lot of their developments is in the aero. They're the third best car on aero. So that's probably something we're going to need to look to do. Where they are is chassis. So we're beating them out on chassis. So I could try and maybe capitalise on that advantage that we have against them. It's such a weird one. But I'd say that's where most of their performances come from is aero. But after that race today, we're definitely going to get a tyre wear upgrade, and we're going to try and capitalise on the advantage we have against their chassis by getting another weight reduction upgrade. Both of those should come in for Italy, and we do have another upgrade as well, which hopefully will be on the car for then as well, because Italy is the home race for this team, and it'd be brilliant to get a good result for them there. But guys, that has been the Belgian Grand Prix. I hope you have enjoyed. Didn't really work out too well for me, but you win some, you lose some, as they say. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like and comment any feedback down below. And if you want to be kept up to date with the content that comes to the channel, please consider subscribing and enabling those notifications. And I will see you all next time.